So, Jason, when I think of a podcast, I tend to think of, it's every day or it's every
Yeah.
week or it's every second Tuesday and I see it in my feed. But a
Yeah.
series is different because it has like a limited time run at least per season. Why does a series work?
I love this approach because, for one, I think of new podcasters when they come into this medium, they maybe have never done anything of this. Like they could have done a number of different things with social media, maybe video, but podcasting, it's a whole new animal. And a lot of times we get this arbitrary number put in front of us of how much we have to podcast. Oh, you've got to do at least a weekly show in order to
Gotta
stay
go
in front of
weekly.
your audience.
Yes.
Yeah, or got to do multiple episodes per week. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But in
Yeah.
reality, what you need to think about is how you're impacting your audience and then how you're communicating with them. And if you have impactful content that delivers a strong message, helps them make improvements, helps them move in a positive direction, you don't have to be there every week if you communicate and say, we're going to be here for this block of content. Say it's 5 episodes. I'm going to bring you a series on this subject. It's going to be 5 solid episodes, all dedicated to the most important parts of this subject matter. Once we're done with that, you could do a series every month. You could do a series every couple months. You really have a lot of freedom to do it how you want. And I don't subscribe to these old school ways of podcasting because they were unofficial to begin with.
Right.
I think you need to podcast based off what's most important for you and your brand and your schedule. If you're not factoring in your time, you're going to burn out. And ultimately, you're going to start hating the act of podcasting, which is why we see so many people fail, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So coming at this with an approach that allows you to learn and get comfortable and really see if you like what you're doing, you could transition from a series to a weekly show very easily. But instead of reverse engineering, which is what I think a lot of people should do, they try to go full bore and then eventually hit a wall. I
hear
love
ya.
the series approach because there's so many angles you can take with it.
So one of the things I'm constantly coaching my clients is you've got to be consistent. If you drop Mondays, you drop Monday. And it's not Monday afternoon, it's Monday morning because we want to hit that 8 a.m. to noon kind of rush hour listening time. A series takes the consistency out of the growth potential. So people develop a habit. They listen to my podcast every Monday morning. That's their habit, hopefully. But a series takes that away because it has a limited run. What are some of the strategies to promote a series? And do you actually have, because it's limited run, do you perhaps have more funds to promote and to advertise your series that you otherwise would not have because you're spending it on producing that dang thing every Monday?
No, there's definitely some elements of truth to that. I think with the biggest thing I see by going the series route is the fact that, yes, you're not there every week. So you're not going to have that constant every Monday we drop a new episode approach. But I think you'll agree with me, podcasting has sprouted a lot of new legs. And audiences connect with our podcasts in a number of different ways. So they're consuming the content through the podcast in passive nature. Normally, if they're on a walk or in the car or maybe sitting at home, whatever, they have a number of ways they can consume the audio side. But podcasting is also taken on video. So you can watch a video, much like this. You can take your transcripts and you can break those down into emails and website content and social media content. You can take the
Newsletters.
long form video, make short form clips. So what I encourage people to do with a series is not just put out 5 episodes in the podcast format and then walk away. Take that content and repurpose it to death. Cut it up for everything that it's worth and create a communication piece that stays in front of the audience on a number of different platforms. And you don't have to be everywhere. I think that's a misconception as well. A lot of people think, well, I've got to have a presence on Facebook and Twitter and Snapchat and YouTube and TikTok. And before the end of the day, it's like your bandwidth is just shot trying to stay active everywhere. Determine where your audience is, where your content's going to have the most impact, and dial in. Get that really tight. And let people on your podcast know. Follow us on LinkedIn. We're going to be posting a lot of additional content from this series. And not everybody's going to hear it on the podcast, but they might see it on LinkedIn. Or they might see it on LinkedIn and say, oh, I got to hear this whole series. There's a number of ways to play it. But if you don't repurpose the content, that's where the opportunity gets missed. The big thing I do with my clients is this is about marketing content. Having a podcast is awesome, and you should absolutely have it for building trust and positioning yourself as a thought leader and connecting with new audience members. Sure, it's all great. but that content can be used for so much on the marketing side. You're missing the boat if you don't utilize it that way.
You could actually write a book. Like, let's say you did a 6-part series. Each episode's 40 minutes long. I'm just picking a time length. From the transcript, you could produce a digital book. Spend some time kind of rewriting it. But yeah.
You're letting the cat out of the bag on me, Doug. That's actually something
get
I
the
was going to
goodies.
start playing around with, because I've got a few new series that I'm working on right now, and I'm going to roll out 2 of them before the end of 2025. And that's something I was thinking about. This could technically, all this content, become the bones of a nice book that I could put out and utilize in a number of different ways. So sure, that's a big way to use it.
So make the book, promote the book, you give your email, you get the book for free digitally, and now I have your email. Ta-da, you're in my newsletter. And every Monday I pump out my newsletter, but I got your email fair and square because you signed up and downloaded the book. So
That's right.
it's all cyclical. You
100%.
You produce podcasts, and we tend to produce the ongoing, the every Monday morning kind of podcast. But you've really made a name for yourself in the industry as the series guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's how you stand out to me. Is that philosophical for you? Is that you just decided, I love the concept of a limited run series that you can repeat as many times as you want. Why did you decide series? Why does that work for you?
What I did was identify a problem. At least I saw it as a problem. When I was hearing the advice and hearing the guidance that a lot of people were putting online, most of the gurus, quote unquote, would say weekly podcast, only way to fly. If you're not there every week, you're not going to make that impact. And don't get me wrong, there are benefits to it. But where the disconnect was I was hearing that advice, and then I'm looking at statistics that say 9 out of 10 podcasters fail.
Yeah.
90% of podcasters don't get past their 3rd episode. I was like, well, wait a minute. There's something missing here. And I think a lot of it is in those early stages. If you put so much pressure on yourself to hit arbitrary deadlines and hit this download metric that it's not real either. Like, it's not a way to gauge success, because at the very beginning, you're not good yet. When you started, you probably weren't good, Doug. I wasn't good. We had to get our feet under us. We have to find our voice and get confident in delivering our message, and that takes reps. So, yeah, well, that's an argument for being there weekly. I get that, 100%. But what I started focusing on was working with businesses and saying, you need content. You need marketing content. You need to position yourself as a leader in your space, or your competition will. So what are you doing to do that? A podcast is a great way to do that, but I understand you have other responsibilities when it comes to running your business. Marketing is just a piece. But what if I told you you could handle a lot of those marketing aspects in one fell swoop? Give me a few days, work with me on recording 5, 6, 7 podcast episodes. I will take that content. I will give you whatever else you need to check those marketing boxes. That's what was appealing to businesses, because now they can leverage the podcast medium, but now they have a resource in place that they can send people to. It serves as a sales mechanism. Yeah, if you're not 100% fully sold on us yet, go check out our 3rd series of our podcast. We talk all about the things we've been covering today. In addition to that, you can clip it up. You can go back to it. You can get those video clips whenever you want them. You've got the transcripts to refer to. For businesses, it's very logical, because it's not about getting millions of downloads. It's about having that presence in their space. And the podcast content allows them to do that efficiently. And that was what I leaned into.
That 9 out of 10 failure rate, it's been so long for me, but it reminds me of my high school social life. But anyway, bad memories for me. Real quick, do you have clients that use episodes to answer the most painful questions that they'll often get from clients? So I'm thinking of realtors as one example, and they get this same question from clients all the time, how lovely it would be to, hey, I will answer it. But then there's more in this episode I did in my series.
Exactly. I have a client that's a CPA and a bookkeeper. She owns 2 different businesses that have somewhat of a slight connection, but we did her first season built around FAQs. Things that she hears a lot from current and prospective clients. And it allowed her to create a resource for not just her social media, because her social media manager needed more content to work with. But now that this is in place, they've been able to send people to it and help them learn more. And they get that one question answered. Maybe they have a couple more. and now they can go through that podcast catalog and listen for maybe the next answer. Now her and I are already in talks for let's do the next series, and that's really the idea. Is we're not putting you on a timeline, but when you have a minute where you can, okay, step aside, let's get a few episodes and build around a certain subject, let's roll. It helps a business owner stay focused on what's most important, but also keep focus on the marketing piece as well without bending over backwards, having to record a new podcast and then be there every week for their client. You know, it's, to me, the efficiency piece is really where it stands out.
Cool. Just Google the name below, Jason Cercone, and his Bomb Track Media. Give it a Google or look at the show notes. You know how to get a hold of Jason. Thanks for your time today, man.
Thanks, Doug. Appreciate it.